And we're live. Okay, I have retired to novice. And this is where I'm landing. This is a map that I have fiddled around with a little bit here and there. And I am looking at doing a real honest-to-goodness playthrough of a nice, slow factory. Kind of chill. I've turned off biters, I've turned off pollution, I've jacked the resources way up. It's a modified rail world. I'm intending to go to megabase territory. I'm mostly going to be quiet, which is why I haven't turned the music down. This is just going to be a chill session, and we'll see where it goes. Okay, so confirming that I've got handy hands. Yay! Okay. Now, I must admit, aside from a little bit of play recently, maybe a couple of hours, I have been away from Factorio for many months. And before that, I had over 6,000 hours. So this is going to be a combination of the idiot who forgot everything and someone who has sometimes interesting knowledge of how things work. Probably more the former than the latter. I'm not going to set up a to-do list quite yet. But first off the gate, because I have no biters, no weapons are needed. And because I am not doing a lazy bastard run, I don't need to worry about what I am or am not building. So, let's see. We're going to need boxes. We're going to need miners. We're going to need furnaces. And Handy Hands is going to go ahead and start building things for me, whether I think it's a good idea or not. I'm going to have to gather extra resources to keep Handy Hands fed. But on the other hand, it means that I'll always have a few more things that I think I need. So, what I really want to do is get some coal going first. And I'm going to go see if I can dig up some coal from some other places while that's running. I could always use the stone. Okay. The wood and coal and stone. That way I'll be able to watch what I've got here. Looking around for some more big rocks with coal in them. Basically, right now I just want to spend some time so that my miner can dig up a bunch of coal for me. But if I do a little exploring and gathering a little bit of stone and coal and wood, that's good too. Okay, so there's my water supply. Let's not go wild on the mining here. I just want to look around. Okay, I think I may set up a main bus heading to the right. Or, nah, I'll set my starter base up here, and we'll see about the main bus later when we've figured things out. So what all do I want? I want stone brick. I want copper. Where to go? There we are. We're eventually going to need to see steel. I'm going to want to watch for copper and iron in my inventory, which I get rid of. And there's some things that I always have on the first bar. There we go. Now, I'm not going to be using the pipes for a while, but let's leave them there. When I do need them, I'll need a bunch of them. At this point, I'm going to go ahead and start building a little bit of iron here. Five ought to be enough, and I'm going to grab, oh, come on, 3 of them. So I'll set up a little bit up there. And my coal, when I get it, it's going to be like that. Okay, so apparently it's going to build the pipes before it builds the burning mining drill, so we could be here a while. And the transport belts. Fine! Get rid of those. I really want to get some of that built first. That was bad planning on my part. I shouldn't put something up on here until I'm ready for Handy Hands to start building it. So while we're waiting, burner inserters, I will need regular inserters eventually. I'm going to need some electric poles, but I want to have good control over that. Because I only need a few to start with. I don't want it to be building a whole bunch of them. Eventually, I'm going to want to carry gears and circuits as long as I'm hand building. Electric mining drills will become important, but not right away. And of course, boilers, steam engines, and the offshore pump in controlled quantities because we're early game. So that triggered building one of these. Actually, we've got 2. Let's get some of this going. What I'm going to do early on is have as many miners mining coal as I have things doing the coal, so this will catch up. I'm going to go ahead and turn down the music because clearly I'm going to talk a lot. The music is very nice. It really is. But apparently I've got things to say. I have found recently when I was playing through to remember how to play, but I stayed in burner phase a long time because I was chill, and I sometimes need a lot more iron than I expect. So let's go ahead and pump that up. We won't populate these immediately. There. All four of these are going to feed each other. In fact, let's just set them up this way. You know, I'm going to go big on the coal, because I really don't like being limited in my production. What I really want to do is fill everything up with coal and go away for a bit. Go do something else. Well, in this case, I want to go build my power plant. So now it's time to go get the copper going. Of course, I don't have enough coal to do a good job of it yet. We can get some of it going. So for the power plant, I'm going to need a bunch of iron plate and copper plate, but it's mostly iron and some stone. Speaking of, so we need a boiler and steam engine or two, an offshore pump. We're going to need a bunch of pipes. We're going to need some power poles, and we're going to need some science, and we are going to need a lab. So I did install the add-on for even distribution. Because I got tired of parceling it out. At this point, I am going to turn off the handy hands for burning my drills, because I think that's enough. Handy hands is now paused, so you hit increase or decrease key. What did I set those to? Settings, controls. Oh, let's check and make sure the pipette tool I like to have on the middle mouse button. Did I get that set up? I think I got that set up. Yeah, there it is, pipette tool. I'm basically blind. As in, I can't see what's on the screen in front of me. Handy hands, handy hands, handy hands. That's going to be down in the mods. So handy hands is shift page up and shift page down. The shift page up will do a decrease. So if I pick that up, I do a shift page up. Is it supposed to tell me what its setting is? Okay, 0 stacks, 0 items. There we go. We still have a lot more miners that I wanted to have. Might as well place them. We will eventually use these, so it's not a biggie. Okay, so I do need a box of shame for my things that I will not be carrying with me. I think I'm going to go ahead and make some wow, that turned that stone into furnaces real quick. Okay, so I've got some stone being built, and I will have some brick. So somewhere over here is our 0 point. Oh, there it is. So this is our landing spot, and I will be maintaining this as a park area, but from here, my intention is to have some dividing lines going south and east so that I can start organizing. Now this time I'm spending running around is really just so I can get more resources. So you can actually do this from the main map as well. If I was seriously speed running this, I would know exactly how long things were working, but I am not a speed runner. I will never be a speed runner. I've never been a speed runner. I have gotten the achievements, but it took a lot of hard work and I just barely made it. So this is not a fast run, and it's being done by somebody who can't do real speed runs anyway, so expect this to take a while, if that's not obvious. So we've got iron, we've got coal, we've got copper, we've got some stone. I'm going to limit this just because I don't want to have to cart an infinite number of stacks of stone around all the time. Now I was going to put my box of shame in up here. Called the box of shame because you put your pistol in it every time you die. So we're going to seed it with a pistol. And up in this area I will also have boxes for obsolete things. For instance, all of the burner miners, once I'm no longer using them, they don't recycle, so I'm just going to put them in a box up there. So our first goal now is to build power, and we have our water source here. And what I was going to do is place my starter base left to right here, which means I really want my power up near the water, heading to the right, and I'll put a micro mall below it. And the micro mall is how I ended up building a direct insert mall a long, long time ago, and I liked it, so I've kept it. One of those. And we're going to need... I'm not sure how many pipes to ground we're going to need because I'm going to have to bend this around. What I really want is for my power plant to be like this. Which means thus. Which means that my pipes have to come down to here, so from there all the way down and over. And it's going to be a double rail. I think that's right. Yep, that's correct. So now we start putting things in here. I am going to have Handy Hands build me pipes of various sizes and transport belts. And when it can, it will start building those. I'm going to put in my intermediates here, which will speed other things up. Inserters, I will need burner inserter initially. I'm going to need those 4. And I'm going to need power poles. See, now here's where Handy Hands is going to start paying off. It'll fill in the ones that I can build here. I don't want to put anything on there that I want a limited quantity of, so this guy. We're going to build the first one, and it will come in here. That's not quite far enough. Let's set it up like that. One more. Okay. So that'll be my initial location. having that little gap in there makes it just a little bit easier to move. I know it costs extra to do it. If I have the resources, I'm going to go ahead and set those up. There. So that means that I will be able to use those guys. Now I am going to put in burner inserters so that if all else fails, the burner inserters will be able to pick it up. So that's where my coal is going to come in. So we haven't hardly explored at all. That's terrain, not coal. So my supply of coal is here. If I'm going to put my starter base down there. Yeah, okay, so one of my coal lines is going to have to snake out and around. That's fine. And there's my national park. There's where my coal line will eventually go. It'll be a while before I get there. I have to get power built first, and that's going to mean taking from coal stocks, which means those burner inserters are going to start out by pulling from boxes. That's fine. During all this time, Handy Hands has just gone ahead and built all the things that I want on my belt. All I have to do is just keep the raw materials coming. I've got it set to the defaults, so it's just going to build, I think it's 0.2 stacks of everything. Now, if I'm going to do that, that means I cannot build this until I've researched extra stuff. So let's start off there. Later I will come back and put in goes-unders. There we go. We'll put in half our coal there and the other half there, because the one thing we don't want is for our power to go out. So I've gone ahead and put the power in for this guy. I'm not sure at what point I'll start actually building the second one. I may get by with one lane for a while, but I'm going to reserve the area, which means that I want to put the micro mall to the south of it and to the west. So actually I could build the micro mall entirely in this area. What does the micro mall look like? Well, I am going to ask for that. I can't build these yet because I haven't researched it, but essentially it's this kind of pattern where there's some resource in the middle that's playing into everybody, and we can forward from one to the next, or we can exit it. And I have found that a 4x, basically a set of 4 provides me with some things I can build. And in the middle, I can do something like this, So if these four are doing the interesting build, I can do that. And let's limit this to one stack for now. Oops. Okay, so that's all set. I will work out the forwarding between these guys and what to put inside the chests once I get it going. Let's call this a macro mall. You can tell I've taken all of my old blueprints, I've tossed them in here. Many of them require mods, some of them are for extremely old versions of Factorio. Some of them are evergreen. The Rehnquist balancer book, for instance, is very important. But for now, let's... Whoops, did I just... No, I didn't. Okay. So we're here. I need to figure out what power to set up in here. But we'll figure that out as we go. So there's where I'm going to put the assemblers once I get them. Science I'll put up here, because I do need to build some science. I have one of those. Need the assemblers. And I have not yet built any science. So primarily we want the research. We want logistics very soon. That's going to be another 20. Then we want to go into electronics, because I want to head to automation 2 and fast inserters. Fast inserters first. Automation 2 and circuit network are going to require green science. So first this guy, then fast inserters. I also want to get steel out fairly soon. If I were speed running, I probably would want steel axe for faster axe work. Well, don't need that because I am not a speed demon, and mostly if I'm mining, it's because I want to spend extra time. So we'll do this. I will toss the green science onto the end, and then we'll do steel processing. Once we get green science going, I'll be focused on building out the green science and what I want next. So this will get steel for me out the other side, and lights just in case things get dim. And of course, while I was doing that, it paused because this is a single player, not a multiplayer. Okay, so the process of building the red signs, I used up some of my gear wheels, and then Handy Hands went ahead and built them back for me again. So that's going to get automation going. I'm going to go ahead and build the next 20 science to do logistics so I can get my goes unders. And that means that I won't need these. I will, however, want to do this. There. So now when I'm running along, there's nothing crossing the path that's going to knock me around. Now, also going to make some more electric poles. I probably need to get a lot more wood. There's logistics. So now, if I have materials to do it, it will start making assembly machines. I am going to need some wood, because I need to make electric poles. Before I do that, though, let me go ahead and get the coal and feed the burners and all of that. I need to remember to do this. Yeah, I'm wondering, maybe I should just have it continue to build my burner mining drills. Yeah. Whoops. Oh. Change default auto stack size. This is not changing the size of burner mining drill. I don't understand what's going on there. Let's manually build one and see if having one in my hand will help. Got one in my hand. There we go. You have to have one in your hand to do it. Okay, max rate calculator is telling me that I've got half a machine too much on the mining. That's all right. And of course, I've totally forgot what I was coming over. Oh, that's right. I was getting some wood so I could build more poles. Meanwhile, Handy Hands is bringing my stocks back up, including stocks of the burner miners. I will end up with a bunch of burner miners that I never place. So, I do now have assembly machine 1s, which is what I was waiting for, and some inserters, and a whole bunch of boxes. So let's build the first thing. What I really want to do is start off with building the assembling machines themselves. So assembling machines require plate, gear wheels, and electronic circuits. So we'll go over here and we'll put gear wheels here. And how about we give ourselves some power. We're going to have iron in the middle. And we're going to need electronic circuits, which require copper coils, like that. So everything now flows. And we need power here. So here's our production line. So we start off with copper and iron plate here. And they get spread out, come back together, and go in. Quantities. This will use 22 plates to 4.5 copper. This is 44 to 9. And call it 5 to 1. Okay. It's not going to come out even. What I'd also like to do is drop in some boxes so I can pick up some of those. So once this is going, I might be able to dispense with handy hands, although leaving handy hands at a low level means that I can pick up more, and handy hands only kick in if I get down too low. So that's the first thing we're building. Second thing we're going to build is the inserters. And we all know that inserters use the same stuff. So just copy paste all that stuff over. Same deal. Give me some power. We're ready to go. And inserters, their ratio is 4 to 1.5. It's 8 to 3. Call it, yeah, I'm just gonna do 5 to 1 there as well. And what I'll do is once these have drained, I'll just recover the remainder and we'll have used whatever we use. So, got those. The next thing we're going to need is electric miners. And again, this is electric circuits and iron gear wheels. And that ratio is 23 to 4.5, which is 46 to 9. Again, call it 5 to 1. And while that's all going, what is the next thing we want to build? Well, I really want to get some belts going, and I'm going to end up with a much... Thing is, the belts are simpler. Now, with the belts, this is really, I want to build as many belts as possible. And I am out of iron completely. We'll let everything else kind of churn. And belts are the reason why this has 10 smelters. because each belt takes 3. So 300 plate becomes 100 belt. I'm going to need thousands of belts. This also means that once I build the mini base, starter base, getting belt array going is going to be top priority. So this is not moving. Oh, it helps if I build it correctly. There. And I am going to go AFK for a few minutes while this churns. And we're back. So let's see, what did we get this time? Well, we ran out of items for making the assembly machine 1. I'm going to go ahead and pick those up. We stopped making inserters because we only make 1 stack of them. Well, that's foolish. Let's pick them up. Really need to allow 3 stacks. And how are we doing here? 300 transport belts, that's pretty good. So we have assembly machines, we have mining drills. Now handy hands will keep the mining drills up to snuff as long as we have materials. And inserters. But you notice we don't have any iron plate. Let's go get it. That's not as much iron as I had really expected there. But we are so close to starting to lay out our actual mining lines that I'm not too worried about it. So what do mining lines look like? So to fill a yellow belt, we actually need 30 of these. But it's going to be 15 and 15. This is 14. This is about half a belt. I'm going to go ahead with this build for now. So if I place it like that, this is not maximum distance for the power poles, but it makes it so that I can join these vertically and be, and slip them up and down by a couple of miners, and things will still make sense. So there's that. We'll save this off as a new blueprint. In fact, we need to name these. This is called Micro Mall blank. This is called mining. I'll call it mining 14. And I will annotate that it's got electric mining drills and yellow belts. There we go. So now in theory we could put another one down next to it. Let's reserve that space. We do need to figure out how to get power to there. So our power grid is up here in the upper right. We're going to want to run it to the left and down. I would like to keep it grid aligned properly, but if I do that, I can come over on this top grid, but I will smack that. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to run it over to the south of the belt here. This is just for placement. Eventually, when this goes away, I'd like to have my poles be nice and regular. And we are going to have it right on the edge of that. Actually, let's set it back exactly as far as that one. So is that about where I want to bring it? How about that? That's on a grid line. I like it when my power lines are nice and straight. So sometimes you have to do a little bit extra jiggering. Notice they're not straight here because I couldn't put them centered everywhere, and I didn't want to uncenter them where I could. Get what I mean? It's kind of weird. Okay, so now we have power to our iron, and the iron isn't even what I wanted to do first. So let's get the coal going. What I really want is to have that feeding my power, and then have another one that will be feeding my smelters when I do them. Yeah, you can't have it even and clean. I would rather have it mostly even and straight. Okay, so it's our coal line. We do not yet have logistics done because somebody forgot to put in the science. Okay, I'm an idiot. Okay, so this has built everything it can build. I'm going to go back and get resources and set up for another batch. So what we have now is 16 assembling machines. We're going to be building more micro mall in the future, but not quite yet. We have 15 electric mining drills. We're going to need a lot of mining drills. And we're going to need a lot of belts. So belts and mining drills and inserters are going to be our main thing. Inserters and assembling machines when we start building our starter mall. But do also need to build stone furnaces. Here's how we're going to do it. I'm going to let this go as many as 5 stacks. Because at some point we're going to be laying out a lot of smelters. We may even make this bigger at that point. Okay. We're also getting fairly close to being able to shut down our burners here. I will need to arrange for power. Well, I've got power. I need to arrange for the electric miners on various things, as well as actual smelters. So how far down do I want to start the smelters? Well, what if plan on I should line this up better. I think that's lined up. So that's probably about as big as the micro mall will get. And in fact, I probably will never use half of that space. What that means is I'm going to start my smelters down below this. Let's pick a line. Let's pick this line. There we go. So what I want is on this side of the line, I'm going to want the smelters to be about there. And coal's going to be coming in from the top, which means that we have let's say we've got 2 lines of coal coming in here, and we need to dump underneath the line. So there's our horizontal. And this is going to be our vertical. This gives us space to go under and go to a splitter. I'm not going to build out the second coal line, but I'm going to leave space for it. Which means that I need to have that. Because I can take the left line, split it across, go under. We're going to have space for another splitter there. On the right, we're going to start our smelters there, which means this is our output line, like that. So there we have it. So the question is, this is my normal way of setting these guys up. Do I want to do it this way in the middle, or alternately I could do that? I think it doesn't matter. As long as I'm hand building, it's going to be a pain either way. So that will build half a yellow belt. A full yellow belt if I upgrade the furnaces. That's a full yellow belt or full red belt if I upgrade the furnaces. And that, with upgraded furnaces, would fill a blue belt. So let's go ahead and reserve out to there. Just in case this build does survive that late into the game. And let's only do that much. So there's our furnace, and we're going to reserve space, and this is the last furnace. And after this, we're going to allow for another line to come in and join us. And then we're going to have some stock storage. I'm going to limit this to 2 stacks per box so I can control how much I pick up fairly finely. So the top two, well, the first one is going to be brick. So the brick will not actually have something coming in. And in fact, on the brick, I'm going to have the raw stone. There's going to be a bypass for raw stone that comes around here. And at some point I will work out some stuff to take the raw stone excess from here and bring it up, and take the excess coal. Not so much excess coal. Coal is not excess by definition because we need to have it flow down. There. So I've left space for the second coal line here, and that is what the smelter looks like. This is stone. Can I build nameplates yet? Yes, I can. So we're going to build some text plates. I'm going to label this. In fact, we're going to put that on the bar. Why is this? This is my brick. Where do I want to label this? I will label it here. So you have to see. So stone here, brick here. Let's make sure that's a ghost. Ghosting everything until I have it worked out. So the stone's going to need to come in and feed these two lines, which are going to go out. Next is going to be copper. We'll grab this whole thing. Now I'm going to leave a gap, because I like leaving gaps where I change. We'll do 2 copper smelters. And in this case, I am going to have join to the upper. This. So that will bring my 2 smelter lines out, merge them together, store that off, and give me 1 line. I am anticipating that we won't actually have 2 full lines of output from any of our stuff quite yet. Although we could prepare for it. Yes, we can. There we go. Now we're going to get 2 lines, and we're going to shuffle some stuff off into boxes. And just in case the boxes drag from one side and not the other, we're going to merge after. There. I am not going to lane balance because we're going to implicitly be lane balancing here. As long as we have enough input, I'm going to be sending out balanced full outputs. So there's copper. And there's iron. steel is going to be a weird case. We have not researched steel yet, so I'm going to put steel down below. So there's our layout. Let's go ahead and label some things. Give that a background. There's our plan. We still need to hook everything up and start on the next stage. Now at this point, we don't have any automation of science, and we really should. So I'm going to do a micromole based science build. We need red science. Micromole based, however, doesn't give me much science. It's really slow because it's only one machine. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to lay it out here so we start automating science when these start flowing. Which means really that right now is when we're going to start working on the starter base. So now that I've admitted I'm in the starter base territory, let's start looking at it. First off, I am going to need a lot more assembling machines and inserters. So let's get that going. I am also going to need miners for copper ore and more miners there. So at least 7, 14 by 3, 30, 42 more miners. Yeah. So start off with 5-to-1 ratios here. 5-to-1 here. And 5-to-1 here. And now we go back and get more iron. First priority, of course, is going to be smelting iron. So we set this up and we never ran it anywhere. And that's probably bugging people. So 76 stone furnaces, got 24 per line. We've got 3 lines. Yeah, we're going to need about twice as many furnaces. And I guess I never put out my my radar. I never put out any radar. So Handy Hands made me some firearm magazines. Even though I don't need them. Let's go ahead and put radar on the bar. So Handy Hands is also going to build some radars for me. More than I need, obviously. So if I wanted to put a radar in the best possible place, what I wanted to do would be to have one cover southeast and one cover southwest. You cover 1, 2, 3. So somewhere in this square gets a radar. So I am going to mark the square with the radar like that. And I, of course, will need that. So all these things are now set up with power. I think I'm going to put the power just below the walkway. So any undergrounds will go beyond the power line. And that looks pretty good. Now for in here, I didn't place power in my smelters yet. This is where it's going to end up going. And we are out of power poles. So as long as I'm using wooden power poles, I will need to cook. I will need to get a lot of wood gathered. Dum-da-dum. All of this eventually is going to have to go. I could just carve my way through it until I have enough wood to make a lot of power. That'll do. So now we can stripe these down. Now I wish I could lay down my inserters as quickly as I'm laying down my power lines, because the inserters are the thing that is most time consuming to get set up. Okay, so let's get some more belts going. Just going to toss all the iron in there. In fact, I'm going to go back and get iron and toss even more in. because we have another full load of iron. It's going to be so nice to get a truly belt-fed iron going. Now with these guys, yeah. There's no reason to just sip from this. I'm just going to keep this going constant. Planned sufficiently that I'm willing to commit to these borders now. So, the reason why we're still not seeing any coal on this line is because, as usual, Greg's an idiot. And with that in place, I can retire my boxes, and I can start roughing out the shape of the rest of the power plant here. That's 3, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 9, 10. So I'm building things when I don't have space for them. Yeah, I picked up boxes full of coal without realizing that there was a lot of coal in those boxes. So let's put some emergency boxes here. Boom. So this was not correct here. There we go. If we only had construction bots, huh? But there's our full-size power plant, which may require more coal than fits in that line. So at this point, we have run some power around, but not enough. Where did we not make connection? Well, that wire is not going north yet. This is going to be an intersection. Let's go ahead and mark it like that. not sure I like that. I mean, I like the idea of having those crimped in. Yeah, I will rework that when I get better ways of running power around. Okay, so we don't have any power here because I cut it and I didn't put it back. Whatever. Yeah, this is not my right angle, but who cares? I mean, other than me. We have a bunch of places that need more coal. There we go. So I've picked up a whole bunch of resources. Let's grab those. Ooh, do I want to unlock these boxes? That might not be a bad idea. Now this is at 5 to 1, and I only did that much. So let's do this at 4 to 1. And see what we end up with. Keep that at 5 to 1. And we'll dump the rest of them up there. There. So now we have plenty of transport belt. I should go back and get more iron or handy hands to use, and then we'll see about starting to hook up these smelters. So first off, the first guy is stone and brick, which comes from here. So I'm going to want to replace all of this with stone and brick, stone mining. Goodbye. Yeah, I know, I just updated a bunch of them. We want to fit 2. That's about the center. We put that one down, that one down. That's good. Need the same thing over here. How much space we're going to need? One more of the, 2 more of these gone. Okay, so this will give us a yellow belt of stone, a yellow belt of coal, two half yellow belts of iron, and now we need to get our 2 half yellow belts of copper. Just boop, like that. And now we start filling it in. What happened there? That needs power. Okay, I am going to allow for the possibility of the power eating everything, alternately also of us needing to not give everything to power. So this is going to be that. So prioritize output to the left, prioritize output to the left, and then balance whatever I have left, whatever remains. Oh, and that's silly because I only have one. No, I have the potential for 2. So this can now come down, and I'm going to go across. I'm going to actually draw in both of the coal lines smelters, because all too often my smelters will stop working because I didn't give them enough coal. And how many undergrounds am I going to need? This whole thing, I'm going to need 15 splitters and 37, call it 40 undergrounds. Interesting that Handy Hands is not making anything. Did I mess it up? There we go. So if I've got 10 and I'm going to need about 40, it's 30 more. That's going to be 15 builds. And this is 15 goes as well. So if I'm going to do the complete layout, it's going to be 5 more. And let's do 5 more. Let's get this top one laid out and running. Well, not running, but laid out at least. Now I'm going to go ahead and build this out and get the brick, even though it's not my highest priority. It's because it's the first one. I want to see it work. Okay, so that's all populated. So now if I bring my stone in, I will see things happen. And let's go ahead and set that out like that. So the stone needs to come in like here. Yeah, that was tight. Oh, and how about that? I ran myself out of transport belt. And why isn't Handy Hands building more? Apparently Handy Hands will pause. Okay, so I need more mining drills and a lot more bells. Back to the micro ball. So what do I need? I need drills. 5 to 1. We have inserters. We need belts. We need a lot of belts. The rest of it. So now we have stone coming out. We are going to even it up. So we're expecting about half a belt here, a quarter belt there. Here's our brick. Because I have a whole bunch of stone, I'm just going to drop that in these guys. All the stone's gone. Now the coal, same thing there. Didn't. Okay, so when you fuel with this add-on, it doesn't necessarily fill things to full. That's interesting. But this does mean that we are moving things along here properly. This is good. So the next step is copper, which is going to come down inside the stone. I think I'm going to bring it down around the top and down. So it's going to come across here. Now, I made a mistake on this. I should have left more space above the coal or less space. So it's going to be tricky bringing my other one down. So instead, what I will have to do is just make space for it. So, boom, boom. That's not where I want to bring it. There we go. So the copper comes down. And I could either terrace them in or I just bring it straight down. I will deal with the fact that there's a lot of empty space. And we balance between the two. So I'm going to build only one line for now. Okay, copper's ready. So if we look at our production here, there's our stone. Started mining a lot of stone, we filled it up, and so on. And everything else is upswinging. So what are the interesting things we want to watch out? I want to watch my iron plate production, stone brick production. Iron plates aren't smelting them properly yet, are smelting copper plates now. There we go. There's our consumption. And now iron. Same thing as above. I'm modifying this so that one smelter input can drive all 8 of the boxes. And that's all of my transport belts. We don't have iron yet, so let's go back and get some. Oh, and we can decommission the copper at this point. Let's do that. Why are these guys red? Low power. We need to build more power. Fine. So, to build more power, I'm going to need, say, 6 and 12. That'll do. And we're going to end up with our pipes rebuilt for us by the time we get there. So currently, yeah, we probably need quite a lot more. We need more than double, so I'm going to quadruple my power plant. Which means it is time to build this guy. and I ran this too close. There we go. So now our production capacity is way up, and we can supply the base. See if we can find something to do with these things. Oh, I'd forgotten about Shift C. Shift C with this add-on will take stuff that's in your inventory and put it where it's useful. Notice that just got rid of a bunch of coal. Okay, next step is the iron. We're working on that. And I forgot to pick up the transport belts. And just going to dump all of the iron straight into transport belts. And believe you me, transport belts are going to be one of the first things we automate off the end, other than material, the components. Okay, and we need to also, I forgot to bring the second. I'm anticipating starting steel with a gap. So again, Handy Hands is not... Oh, I don't have iron. Hard for Handy Hands to build something when I don't have the iron for it to build. And that will be solved soon. So we've got coal coming down. Through and in and through. all of these set up. Might as well do all of the splitters. So now the rest of this should all be just normal belts. So we're all set here. We've got coal parting out. Our copper should be our iron should be coming down here. 2 spaces in between. Even though I'm only bringing 2 lines down, I'm still going to keep 2 spaces in between. I'm not sure how far up that's going to go. So we go back over here. Up. There we go. I love hearing the sound of handy hands cracking off and building things, even when I'm not aware that I need something built. Okay, and above. Okay, let's get some more iron. So with both of those together will produce almost a full yellow belt. At this point, I am producing a lot of iron relative to the burners, so the burners can go away. And I believe that is all of my burner mining and burner smelting. Well, not burner smelting, but all my burner mining. So these can go in the obsolete equipment drawer. I'm going to put it in the spaceship. So this will be my shame. This will be just, yeah, we don't use these anymore. Oh. And stop building those. Thank you. So what have we got? We now have bricks and stone and brick, copper, iron, and we can fill out those smelter arrays when we need to. I need to start building an actual starter base off to the right. So what does a starter base look like? Well, I'm going to start with some green chips. Like this. So these guys come on, what is the ratio here? These guys have exactly as much iron coming in as green chips going out. Whereas these guys have 2 iron plate going in and 1 green chip going out. So we're going to do it this way. That. So incoming iron, incoming copper, outgoing gears, and green chips. Okay, and this is going to be interesting because this is going to be that. So, and here, I can set these up in pairs. Power. This is not to ratio. This is only gonna, these are gonna be running at 2/3 speed. And I don't care. Okay, there's power. Use Control N on this. We do see that we would need 3 more copper cable machines to make this run at ratio. But like I said, don't really care. We'll make a ratioed build later when we do higher volume. Coming out of the end here, I'm going to want to store some of this stuff in boxes. So I'm going to filter through like that. We're going to limit ourselves to 3 stacks of each. There we go. So now we just need to hook it up. Leave some space out here. I don't know what I'm going to do with this area. I am probably going to need I'm going to need a second belt eventually of something. Oh, and looky here. Look at all these delicious, delicious raw materials. Let's feed the kitty. 5 to 1. And 5 to 1. And 5 to 1. And the rest of it. Which is not a lot. That leaves me with a little bit of those, no iron, some materials. Now these should be empty at this point. They weren't, because I did let it back up a little bit. And now I've got a bunch more iron. Now I think if I hit Shift C here, it'll just kind of disperse it around into the boxes, so that would be bad. That got rid of most of the coal, all of the coal. So now we've got the start of the starter base. We've got the initial gears and green chips and copper. fairly important to prioritize building the red science and probably the green science. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to build my science coming off here. These guys are highly effective at pulling off all of the iron. Well, well, well. So let's build our red science coming down here somewhere. How about starting here? And that needs to be gears. So this needs to have gears and copper on it. This is called aggressive prioritization. Yeah, I'm gonna stick with this. I don't know how fast I have to get the stuff through here. I'll replace these with blues when I can, and I'll figure it out. And we're going to send this north. I'm anticipating growing this array to the south. So where do I want to put our science arrays? I want to put them off to the left. Where did I put science? Did I pick them up? Did I delete them? Here they are. Let's see. I'm going to do a kind of a tricky build here. But assume 4 more kinds of science coming in from the bottom, and this science coming in down from the top. I'm going to build my science arrays off to the left. Let's give them some room, not a lot. This also means that I'm going to need 2 spots in here eventually for doing this. Do not need those yet, so I'm not going to spend the resources on them or on the unders. That's where they'll be. So these 2 are taken up. Actually, let's the power in the middle, so it'll be 3 of them, so skip 3. Eventually we will do something like that. Or I think 5 long is as wide as I want to go. So that's 50 labs. If I'm still in a starter base at 50 labs, there's something very wrong with the world. So these guys still have no power. I've nuked them up. we go. So I'll be able to add a grain belt out to the right here. They're pretty narrow. I think there's enough room. It's a starter base. So I want to get at least, let's call it 6 labs going. So I need 5 more. 2, 3, 6. So we're going to bring it down to here. These guys can be ghosted. And we can mark this like that. Okay, now science will be moving quickly. So I'm not going to worry about building more smelters until we start eating more plate than we have supplied. So what do we need to build here? This is a starter base whose intention is to build resources to build the rest of the base. So obviously the first thing I'm going to want to build is my array for belts. So there's the start of the array, of the belt array. Obviously we need to do that and that. So now the question is, how many of these do we build? I'm thinking 3 stacks of those and 5 stacks of normal belts. That's good enough. The other array I need is for my inserters. You notice that I just got the blue inserters, which I want. And this is going to be similar. In fact, I am just going to assume everybody needs everything. And if some of those aren't used, that's cool. And again, these guys, I need 3 of those. I'm going to need a lot of blue and a lot of yellow for the moment. So that's got my belts, that's got my inserters that I need. Now I need pipes. and round pipes. These need a lot of straight pipes, so I'm going to go ahead and do this. So that's got belts, inserters, pipes. I can't automate wood, so there's no real point in automating the electric poles, because I can build those by hand as I collect wood. So, big things. Assembling machines, I want to automate. And electric mining drills, I want to automate. These require circuits and gears. Circuits and gears. So, assembling machines and mining drills. This seems to be falling into a pattern. And we're going to stick with 3 stacks each. Well, stick with 1 stack of assembling machines, and the mining drills I can go to 5 stacks. These all are manual build. You can now do steel and green science. I will add more to this as I need it. Green science. Okay, we've done optics. So now we can start researching things that include green. We're not going to have green for a moment, so let's start off with steel axe. Gun turrets lead to nothing. Walls lead to a bunch of things, some of which is interesting. I'm going to defer military research as long as possible. Steel axe, and the rest of it is all red-green. Automation 2, better power, circuit network, and belt. Else, landfill I'm going to want, but not yet. Logistics 2 I'm going to want. Doesn't really matter what order all this happens in. And let's speed up our lab research. There we go. Okay, we can do lamps. I'm going to throw some lamps in here. Lamps require green circuits and copper cable and iron plate. Oh, I'm out, but I have these. There we go. If I make this lamps. These require copper cable. And they need a place to put their output. This is going to be interesting because they need to reach over with a red bat. And then they need to take close, which means that I am running out of all sorts of things that I'm building. There we go. And there's where I needed more copper. So 3 stacks of lights each one of those. I'm anticipating using a lot of lamps. And notice I have balloon lights and short balloon lights from the add-on. I'm not going to bother using those. They're kind of cool, they're kind of neat, and they're... I can't tell whether I need more brightness on the YouTube videos or not. Okay, so here we are. And now, Handy Hands would be building some of these things for me if I were picking up my iron. So at this point, we are using all of the iron as fast as we can smelt it. And I believe that is as fast as we are mining it. No, okay, we could smelt faster. So it's time to light up the other. It's funny, I did the math. I thought that this was an entire yellow belt. But clearly we're all lit up here and we are not filling the belt. We're not having power problems. We are draining these as fast as we're doing it. Staying fed. Yeah, so I guess that is only... Oh, right, that's half a yellow belt. When I go to the next smelters up, that'll be a full yellow belt. Oh, maybe I have some more inserters in the micro mall. The micro mall now can start getting decommissioned as we are now building this stuff down below. I'll leave it here for now. So I never actually expanded this out beyond the first set. Let's just mark this to be deleted. Among other things, once you've marked it to be deleted, the inserters won't run. So if there were things left over, they would be inserting them onto the flat ground as I picked them up. we go. Micromall's dead. And we'll find something else to do in that space. So with that done, go back down to here and let's make sure I actually built things. Okay, so I've got belts, inserters, assembler, liner, and these. I think that's everything that was important up there. Oh, yeah, let's not have too much iron on my plate. Okay, so here we have these guys. We're expecting belts and inserters. Inserters are going to expect green, which we are going to bring in here. That. This is inserter. This is belt. So I need a source of green chips here. I can either do it on site, or I can snoop it from here. If I do it on site, that will require 2 machines. And a boop. Do it on site. I am not sure how much capacity I'm going to need. On any of these. I'm going to have to watch the inserters once we light this up and figure out who is actually busy. That guy needs copper. This guy needs iron. That was bad. There we go. Okay, so belts are fast enough. This appears to be one yellow. I think inserters are just fast enough. Okay, let's make sure I have correct balance. I am short a little bit on copper to make this a 1-to-1. But I have twice as much capacity here as I need, which means this is going to back up. That's good. So if we were to double this, I would need to add another machine, copper wire, or get a better source of green chips. That's perfectly okay. Watch our science. So our consumption has risen to the appropriate level, and production blue is going to ramp up. Okay, I'm going to AFK and let this cook while I get something to drink. Okay, looks like we are producing green science faster than we are consuming it. Let's take a look at the numbers. So production, red is still bouncing up and down, but not by much. Steady state here. It's all backed up. Green is still filling. So we're capable of producing 30 green per minute and probably 30 red per minute. And we're only consuming 12. So this means that if we're consuming 12 across our 6 labs, then the 30 could go to 15 labs. So let's bring it up to 20 labs. How about that? 20, we have 6, so 14 more labs. And inserters and belts and all of that we have in stock. And clearly I need to stock up on some gears and some circuits. And I got distracted while building more iron, didn't I? Yes, I did. There's more iron. So our consumption rate here is going to go up and down. So now we're going to be using package every 15 seconds rather than every 30 seconds. So let's take a look at what that does to our consumption rates as they go up. We're still only producing at 30-ish. Yeah, 30-ish. But now we're going to consume at more than that. So these will level out. These guys are at 30. These guys are at 30. These guys are at 30. So, yeah. We'll deal with this as long as we got a starter base. We don't really need to go for higher rates until we get a larger base. Circuit network is going to help because I'll be able to say when I start building a big mall, produce so many of these and put them in the box, and then when I'm building the red guys out here, can I build them yet? I can't build them yet, but the red I'll be able to pull from there and say, oh, don't leave less than a certain number in that. So I'll be able to shut off the inserters when I don't want them to continue draining. So now we have lights. Not a lot of lights, but some. So what is our limiting factor here? Not enough iron. So we're using up all of our iron building these higher priority things. That makes sense, and I'm willing to leave it like that. Now with these guys, I'm going to go ahead and have handy hands bring these up to 300 and these up to, say, 400. Materials willing. because I do still make quite a lot of things by hand. What do we want to research next? We've got the tool belt, we've got logistics, more research. We need better furnaces. And we're going to need engines. And we want to go for trains soon, but we also want to go for robots. Robots are higher tech. But let's head for trains next. There we go. I think that's everything we need to build real trains. So when we start building trains, we're going to need to have brick and stone available in our starter base. And we're also going to need steel. So now is the time to actually start building steel. And then run steel, brick, and stone into the starter base so I can use them. Let's work out a steel build. Now the top part of it is going to look an awful lot like that. Because we're going to take the iron ore and copper and coal in here. The power is going to be different though. Because the steel is going to have to go in here, and we're going to need to have an output line and a coal line. This is in addition to wrapping our coal around the outside. I'm not sure what that's going to look like. Now, it could very well be that we need another row here. It also could be that this is where we go down to one coal line. I think we're going to do that. Oh. So if we have that as our coal line, also need some way to dip it out like that. So there's our incoming iron ore, incoming coal. We've got one line of coal going out. We've got that coal going over there. Go. So I'm not sure if you can do this and run two lines of coal through. Maybe if we shuffle all of this down, that would be there. That's kind of tight. Yeah, we can't jump over. Yeah, it does not. I would have to use a red goes under here, just simply because of the distance. Or we'd have to do this. to put it one further down, but then we don't get that there. That's as far down as I can put it. That means we've got that. Like that. Well, it'd work. I think these guys are going to have to output priority, so the inner belt will tend to become empty, and the outer belt that we use for everything will remain as full as possible. No, we don't want to do that one. If anything, we would want the priority to go this way to make sure that we stay fueled. And we don't want to prioritize that. So the trick of these guys is that each one of these needs an input and an output at the bottom, which means that there is no power in here unless I arrange for one of these to go under. But if this is missing, it means both of those are working from that and then that. Okay, so that's the way we're going to have to go. So we're going to go up and up, up like that. And then these guys are going to go down, 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 down. That. And that means that we can erase those. So this would be viable. And I'm going to go ahead and put some lights here. I believe that is a complete coverage. Now, normally I use the steel-based power poles here, but I didn't make any steel before making my steel smelters. So the steel array actually is going to butt up against the science array if I make it exactly the same. It would be here. Let's actually send it down to the next one. So this is a steel array, 1/3 of 1/2 of 1 belt of input. Okay. Now that was a mistake. I believe I set up power grid comb. See how that looks. Yes, that's much better. Oops. There it is. Oh, and let's not forget, and I'm going to need a lot more inserters. It's good to see my iron is flowing, and now my limiting factor is, well, we're not totally limited. We're using up a lot of copper, though. And we do have some blues. Let's grab them. Grab another stack of undergrounds. You can come back and retrofit that with blue toilet. We're going to need at least 2 of these. So now I'm going to need to figure out where to get the iron to feed my steel arrays. I actually have a lot more iron I can tap, but Okay, once we get steel in decent quantities, I'm going to be upgrading everything to these steel furnaces. And yes, I mean everything. I am no longer making. It's interesting. Well, no reason to automate it if I'm just going to be decommissioning them shortly. So I ran power grid comb on this, and yet it still has... Yeah, okay, so if your power lines are too dense, power grid comb will not comb them nicely. It's fine. Okay, so we are going to do a 4x4 splitter here. So in theory, I should now start seeing steel come out. And I really need to beef up the amount of iron I am mining. So in the long run, I'm going to quadruple this. I'm going to add enough to have each one of these be a full line, and then I'm going to mirror it up and down. So to start with, we're going to do that. This is actually one short. That's all right, we're actually off the end of the minefield at this point. So these will be 14/15ths of a belt. Dance there because I offset them. So we have now finished all of the research that we laid out. We're going to add on a little more fluid handling, add cars, socket cars, add concrete and solar, and how about some more research speed? That'll do it. That'll keep our labs busy while we finish this up. So let's see how that goes, and if that gets us enough more. These should be very nearly full, and they are. Okay. So now we are filling our belts here, because there's only one belt actually coming out at the other end. And there we are. Steel is starting. Let's actually take a look at steel production alongside iron and copper. Notice our iron is going up because we are counting the iron part of steel in the iron production. So here our base rate was 600 and we're now headed up to 1200. Now according to that, smelters have no, so some of these smelters have never been lit up. So let's just look at the first third. So the first third of it is going to be producing 60 steel plate per minute. So that's 1 per second, so it'll be 3 per second for the whole thing. And that's 300, so 900 iron plate per minute, the whole thing, once it gets the whole thing going. And of course the right-hand machines won't get any use until everybody else is stocked up on their inputs. So the first guy here, he's keeping 1 or 2 iron ore on hand, so there's a little bit of a pipeline there. Now for steel, these boxes are going to soak up all of it that's going to be available. So let's just set up 2 boxes. That. There we go. That makes sense because it's 5 iron per steel. Instead of 4 boxes, we get 1 box. I hadn't noticed this. Personal Logistics Auto Trash. So this says that when I hit Shift C, I'm going to reduce these down to their upper limits by placing them wherever. So if I hit over to here, Shift C, because it dumped all of my coal and all of my stone. I think I had stone and so on. And we're down to exactly 400 iron plate. That works for me. And exactly 400 steel. So I guess I put the rest of the steel back in the boxes. Yeah, pretty much it would have to. Okay, so what have we not built yet? We have now storage tanks, which I will probably build by hand as I need them. All of the rail stuff we want to automate neatly. And I can make wire. I will just make that by hand. The rest of this stuff we don't really need yet. So let's see, signals are going to be iron plate electronic circuits. And train stops are a bunch of stuff. And the rails themselves, stone, steel, and stick. That's going to be my big use of stone and steel. At this point, I have to decide what I want to do with the steel. Steel's at the very bottom, and the stone and the brick are at the very top. And I would like to bring them together and have them available as part of this starter base thing that I'm building. So probably best if I take this and I just sneak it north. And given that I only have one of those, the amount of steel being produced is small, so we're going to put a lane balancer on that. Steel, brick, and stone, and actually we only need half a lane of brick and half a lane of stone, and we're going to get half a lane of, and we're going to do half a lane of steel. So each one of these becomes half a lane somehow. Do it right. Okay, so this is here. Keep doing that. Here and here, here, here. There we go. So these are both going to come out on the bottom. And normally you would do something like this, something like that. What I am going to do is I am just simply going to fuse these together like that. Wait a minute, I'm going to want to combine steel with something at some point. So I'm not sure what I'm going to want to combine steel with, but I'll combine it with something. And all that is just so that we draw evenly from the two halves of the line, which is totally unnecessary, but I'm doing it. So, let's see. First order of business is we are doing rails, which require stone, steel plate, and iron stick. Iron stick is there. Stone, steel. Iron stick is going to come from the iron down below. Let's go ahead and peel some off. It's high priority, but not as high priority as, well, the science. So what are we looking at here? If we did 1 to 1, we have an extra half machine of sticks. So one stick can feed 2 rail. Come on. So that's exact. And I would like to have many more of that, please. And what does it require? It requires 1 stone per second and 1 steel plate per second. I would like all these to dump into the same box. Oh, not sure how to do that. Could put them all in one of those rosettes. But then I have to feed in the ingredients strangely. I guess I just have to have them in their separate boxes. And in fact, let's just make this a long line. What's new here? The car is new. How fast are these things? These are all 1 per second. An output of 2 per second. Okay. This guy is 1 in per second, 2 out per second. Balances. Now let's put these out at the top. Just like that. And we are going to need a lot of rail. Okay, so what's my limiting factor here? So we are briefly outproducing the rail. This is waiting on stick. Well, let's do that. I believe that's all running at full speed. let's cut the rail. We are running through our science here fairly rapidly. We can start doing assembly machine 2s, which are going to require steel, gears, circuits, and assembly machine 1s. Assembly machine 2 needed to be on the end, or at least where I can feed them to something else. So let's that over. Change him. Okay. Assembly machine 2. Now, this guy, I'm going to stop using assembly machine 1s at some point, but not yet. He's going to require steel coming in from somewhere, and he's going to require that. There. How much steel does he require? He requires 2 steel per second. Okay, so if we output here, as long as I get some steel here, I'm okay. Spaghetti. Well, straight spaghetti. Now this is a case where I don't want to pull out of there if it's too full, put it in if it's too empty. So, enabled if everything is less than, say, let's fill it up to 100. And we pull it out if everything is greater than 50. Pull one. And now we don't need to limit it. And now I can dump my assembler 1s in. Oh, and handy hands can stop. So we're going to go to assembler 2s wherever we can. Let's start here. Slight bump in science. I'm not sure whether these guys need more speed or not. These guys don't need more speed, so I'm never waiting on them. So let's reduce these to 1 stack. Handy hands. Actually, in half a stack of those, so 100 each. Oh, that's right. There we go. Just take all that stuff off the bar there. Let's see. Can set this to say 100. 0, 100, I think it is. There we go. So keep 100. Have handy hands fills up to 100, and Shift C take us down to 100. 400 of those. That's good. And that's a lot of lamps. Right. Yeah. Time to start putting some lamps out. Helps if I put them somewhere that they'll light up. How about that? These spots in the middle here are not covered by power. So basically everywhere here has... that works. Don't recall it getting too dark. So as a starter base, what is this missing? Let's see. I've got a modest number of assembler 2s and miners. I don't have smelters yet. I need to build those. Steel and stone brick. Well, I've got steel and stone brick right here. Last time I built these, I only needed 2 machines worth. That. And they fed together. And let's see. These run under capacity, but they get there eventually. So that gets me my smelters. Now, I want to replace a lot of them very quickly, so I am going to go and replicate this a few times. So what does that do to my furnaces? They're headed up to some extremely high level of production. What did I just see? I just saw. Oh, these do take a while to run. Okay. So I'm going to be doing 1 smelter per second. So every couple of minutes, I'll be able to do one of those smelter. Okay, this is good. I'm not going to do a whole lot of research at this point. I want to get things upgraded. I could start on researching oil and just not build it yet. That works. So, oil derricks and plastic and sulfur. Where am I headed? I am headed for robots if I can. What do I need for robots? I need batteries and advanced electronics. And where to go from? Bum-ba-da-dum. Blue science, advanced oil processing, lubricant, electric engine. Yeah, this is a long research to get to robotics. Let's follow it. Blue science and advanced oil processing. So advanced oil processing is where I'm going to start needing blue science. Is there something else I can do? Doesn't need it. Oh, it's the next thing. So let's let this bake for a bit. Oh lordy, I was gonna stream Factorio for an hour, and it has been almost 4 hours. I am going to save it up here and call this a stream. And we'll open again tomorrow. Save game, and this is called 2022-03-22. Save 1. Good night.